Mid-20th century Harlem. A private room. A white tablecloth so clean it looks holy. Bumpy Johnson sits down to eat with a man he's called brother for years. And before the first bite even reaches his tongue, Bumpy realizes the food isn't a meal, it's a decision. Because in this room, the danger isn't a gun, it's something quieter, something that can smile while it kills you. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why Bumpy didn't fear bullets, he feared betrayal with manners. This is the night a friendship turned into a funeral, and Harlem learned a new rule. If you try to poison a king, you better be ready to taste it first. People think power always falls in the street. Sirens, chaos, headlines. But most empires collapse in small rooms, behind closed doors, with a handshake, a favor, and a plate you didn't cook. Because in Harlem, the money moves through people, and people move through loyalty. So when loyalty rots, everything rots. By this point, Bumpy isn't a kid in a corner anymore. He's older, sharper, a man who survived enough to stop believing in accidents. Harlem runs on reputation the way the rest of the world runs on receipts. You can't call the police, you can't file a complaint. Your name is your security system. And Bumpy's name? It's a lock on the whole neighborhood. Which means anyone who wants Harlem, anyone who wants the numbers, the corners, the influence, doesn't just have to beat Bumpy, they have to erase him. The friend, his long-time friend, wants the crown without the war, wants the territory without the noise, wants Bumpy's seat with Bumpy still breathing long enough to sign it over. And that's what makes Poison perfect. No shootout, no witnesses, no revenge trail. Just a sad story, a bad heart, a man who ate the wrong thing. They choose the room for a reason. A backroom dining space in a Harlem spot that looks respectable from the outside. One door, a hallway that narrows like a throat, and men posted where you can't see them, only feel them. Bumpy walks in anyway. Not because he's careless, because he understands a truth most people learn too late. If your enemy is close enough to feed you, they're close enough to finish you. It's late. So late the city sounds tired. The plate arrives at exactly the wrong moment, when conversation gets comfortable, when laughter gets easy, when guards start to relax. And Bumpy watches the plate the way a soldier watches a doorway. Not hungry, studying. He watches the friend's hands, how they don't tremble, how they do avoid the food. He watches the friend's smile, how it lands a second too late, like it had to be assembled. Then Bumpy notices the smallest thing. The friend doesn't say, eat. He says, go ahead. Not a suggestion, a push. And right there, Harlem gets quiet inside Bumpy's head. Because go ahead is what you say to a man walking into a trap. Bumpy doesn't accuse him, doesn't slam the table, doesn't make a scene. He does something worse. He smiles back. And he slides the plate, slow, smooth, almost polite, right across the table until it stops in front of his friend. A soft scrape of porcelain on cloth, a sound that suddenly feels like a judge's gavel. Bumpy leans in, voice low, calm like a sermon. After you. Now the friend freezes, just for a blink, but Bumpy sees it, that micro-flinch. Because poison only works when the victim plays their part, and Bumpy just rewrote the script. The friend tries to laugh, tries to turn it into brother talk, but his eyes don't laugh. His eyes calculate. He says something like, "Man, you crazy." He says something like, "I'm not even hungry." And Bumpy nods like he understands. "Then we'll wait," Bumpy says. That's the pressure. Not a gun, not a threat. Time. Because if the plate is clean, the friend can prove it in one bite. If the plate is dirty, no amount of talking can wash it. Silence thickens. Somewhere outside that room, music plays, faint, like the world is pretending it doesn't know what's happening. The friend's men shift in the hallway. You can feel them through the door, 5 to 1, maybe more. Bumpy is outnumbered in the most dangerous way. Not by strangers, by people who already decided who they'll mourn. The friend reaches for his water. His hand shakes just enough to betray him. Bumpy watches the glass. Then Bumpy does the coldest thing in the room. He picks up his own fork and taps it once against the plate. A soft ting. A bell, like time to eat. The friend stares at the food like it's alive, like it might jump up and tell the truth. Then he pushes the plate back, barely trying to return it to Bumpy's side. And Bumpy stops it with 2 fingers. Not angry, not rushed. Certain. "Don't insult me twice," Bumpy says. Now the friend's face changes. The mask cracks. Not fear, offense. Because in his mind, betrayal was supposed to be clean, professional, quiet. Bumpy just dragged it into the light. The friend's voice drops. He tries one last angle, a last little piece of manipulation. "You don't trust me?" And Bumpy answers with the truth that ends friendships. "I trust what you did. I don't trust what you call it." A chair scrapes. That's when it happens fast. Not cinematic like a movie. Cinematic like a real decision being carried out. A movement near the door. A hand going toward a jacket. And Bumpy is already standing. No yelling, no panic. Just the sound of a table shifting, a plate sliding, and a body hitting the floor hard enough to shut the whole building up for a second. Here's what people remember, because Harlem always remembers symbols. They say the plate ended up flipped, food on the floor like spilled confession. They say Bumpy left something on the table. Not money, not a weapon, a folded napkin, simple. 2 words written on it, legend says, "Taste first." Because that's the message. Not just to one man, to everyone thinking betrayal is a shortcut. After that night, nobody close to Bumpy volunteered to handle dinner. Nobody tried to be the chef. Nobody offered him a plate with extra kindness. Because the neighborhood understood what the friend didn't. Bumpy wasn't hard to reach. He was impossible to surprise. And once a man proves he can detect poison at the table, everybody starts wondering what else he can see. Now, let's be honest. Parts of this story live in the shadows. Some say there was poison for sure. Some say it was only suspicion, and Bumpy turned suspicion into certainty with fear alone. Some say the friend refused to take a bite, and that refusal convicted him. Some say Bumpy already knew before he sat down, and the dinner was a test. Names change depending on who tells it. Dates get moved around like furniture. That's how Harlem myths protect themselves. But the outcome stays the same in every version. The friend didn't walk out as Bumpy's equal. He walked out as a warning, or he didn't walk out at all. Because the real legacy of that night isn't the violence. It's the rule Bumpy enforced. In Harlem, loyalty isn't a speech. It's what you're willing to swallow. And after that dinner, people stopped thinking Bumpy could be removed quietly. They realized something darker. A man who survives the street is dangerous, but a man who survives the table, that man becomes untouchable. If this story hit you, subscribe, because we're telling the Harlem moments people whisper about, not the ones they print. Drop a like if you believe betrayal is worse than war. And in the comments, be honest. If you were Bumpy, would you have forced the bite or walked away and watched him later?